We're on now.
Does she hear me? Oh, are you hanging out down there? Sure.
That would be a yes.
You're fine.
I think she needs a stool so we can see her.
Whoa.
All right. Well, it is 7 p.m., so we'll call the City Council regular meeting to order. It's Tuesday, March 17, 2026. It's 7 p.m. Would everyone please rise for the invocation given by Councilwoman Pashadlik, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
In honor of St. Patrick's Day, I thought we would do an Irish blessing today. Very Catholic thing to do.
Thank you.
May love and laughter light your days and warm your heart and home. May good and faithful friends be yours wherever you may roam. May peace and plenty bless your world with joy that long endures. May all life's passing seasons bring the best to you and yours.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker.
Here.
Councilmember Curley.
Here.
Mayor Kleinfeld.
Here.
Councilmember Shadlick.
Here.
Councilmember Scott.
Here.
All right, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
All right, please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick.
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld.
Yes.
Councilmember Scott.
Yes.
All right, and we will open the hearing of the public. Would anyone wish to be heard?
Hi, good evening. My name is Larissa Richardson, and I serve as the new Director of Regional Partnerships for the City of Detroit. So I'm coming to say hello, introduce myself, but also bring greetings on behalf of our new mayor and our administration, and also just extend the opportunity to work together on any shared regional priorities, especially in light of alignment on any strategic goals for both of our communities. So looking forward to the opportunity and building a meaningful relationship and working together to serve both of our communities. So thank you so much for the time and greetings on behalf of our new mayor, Mayor Sheffield.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Anyone else wish to be heard?
Good evening, Mary Hall Rayford, Eastpointe. As a reminder, because this will be the last meeting for the month of March regarding women's history, I would love to see some articles or something put on the city's Facebook page or website honoring some of the women, because we've got some very notable women, past and present, that have done a lot of great things. And I was looking them up earlier today, and it was too much for me to even write down the two recordings. I'd be up here past my 3 minutes for the first time probably. But it's just really wonderful to acknowledge the role women have played in the history of mankind. And if we wanted to go back from the beginning, you could say that first notable woman was Eve, because she didn't get the message from God. Adam did. So it wasn't her fault that he ate it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Michael Collins. I'm a homeowner on David Avenue. And I would like to try and get somebody's help with the city. Starting in November, I was getting notices about the fence on my property. We have wanted to replace that fence since the day we moved. We bought the house 3 years ago. We were saving up because we wanted to do a full replacement instead of just pulling parts. We have that money. We signed up, we signed a contract with the fencer, did all the down payment, all of that. This was in November, and we've been continuing to get notices from the city. I have repeatedly called code enforcement. I have shown up in person. Nobody, every time I go, whoever it is I need to speak to was never there. The issue for us is, the problem is, we're not the issue, the neighbor is the issue. We cannot replace the fence without the neighbor signing the paperwork. The problem is the neighbor is a landlord who lives in California and has been completely unresponsive to every attempt that my contractor has made to get this signed. I'm just got another notice here in March. I really have no idea what to do at this point because I'm doing all the pieces that I need to do. So I'm hoping that somebody can assist me with this. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Would you mind leaving your would you take his information? Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Jennifer Nicholas, Eastpointe resident. Last meeting, I had asked Ryan Mattis, our new city manager, a couple of questions because I felt that this was probably his area. The first one is there's been no minutes for the city council meetings drafted, published, approved since January 6th. We have January 20th, February 3rd, February 17th, and March 3rd that there are no minutes available to these meetings. I had asked at the last meeting, is this a new procedure that we don't publish minutes anymore, or do they have to be requested or FOIA'd? I thought that that was all part of the open meetings and that it's usually included with the agenda for you all to approve, but it's not happened for the last 2 months. I had also asked if there was any update on the design for 9 Mile between Kelly and I-94, and I wondered if there was going to be another traffic study done now that the gas station is open over at 9 in Beaconsfield. I don't think that we've been able to see if there's been a change in traffic patterns. I know they were talking about putting a median there. I would think that that would require a traffic study, or possibly if they could work with MDOT to do like a temporary median, block off the center lane to see what it would actually be like for people that travel using I-94, if that would be disruptive, if there would be traffic backups, or it might be that it would be a lot safer and traffic would flow more freely. But I think, it's something since City Council hasn't seen a design for that area and the public has not seen a design. And I'm assuming that the businesses there have not been consulted about it or have any idea of a design, that maybe that's something that we should do before we get too far along in the process. And then also at the February 3rd meeting, Mayor Kleinfeld, you had asked the city attorney and city manager if they could share any clarification on whether or not Moses Roses actually met the criteria by December 31st, as was stated in the motion that you passed January 6th after the closed session meeting. I realize that things that are discussed in closed session are attorney-client privilege, but it's confusing because everything that we've heard stated that they had to be open and operating by December 31st, and my understanding is that they were not open until February 1st of this year. One last question about Moses Roses. Their last water bill was for the period of May 15th to June 15th of 2025. I realize that when the old building was torn down, I'm sure the water meter was removed, but there's been no water usage since then. Does the building not have water, or are we just not charging them for water? Thank you.
Well, it's my annual public service announcement since we're 2-3 weeks away, something like that, from Easter. Even though rescues and shelters have been fortunate enough to have news coverage telling people do not buy rabbits, chicks, and ducks for Easter. It still happens. So I see we have ACO Sanchez here, so get ready. It is absolutely ridiculous. Usually what happens is around July, August, that's when the shelters and the rescues really get slammed. In Easter bunnies being abandoned because people fail to do their research. They are not starter pets, and they require just an incredible amount of care. They're not cheap. If people are going to be stupid and they're going to get a bunny from a breeder, they're not spayed, they're not neutered. You have to get their spay and neuter surgeries done for 5-6 months of age. That is when they hit their teen years. Everybody's heard the saying, you multiply like rabbits. Yeah, they have an extraordinary amount of litters of kits. And people don't do their research. You cannot take them to just any old veterinarian. You have to take them to an exotic vet who is rabbit savvy. Circling back real quick to the spay and neuter surgeries. Those are several $100s. Maybe 30 years ago or so, it was cheaper to have a rabbit than a cat or a dog. Oh, no, not anymore. Bunnies are susceptible to...
You have 30 seconds?
GI stasis, and that is known as the silent killer. The warning signs to look out for is if they're not eating, drinking, peeing, pooping, and they're lethargic, especially if they haven't pooped within 2 hours, you need to haul butt to the vet because they can die from this. People have got to do their research. I've had rabbits for over 34 years. I love them with all my heart. I'll speak on it later. And I know we've got animal control ordinances coming up in new business, so I'm looking forward to hearing about that.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else wish to be heard?
If there's a topic in new business, should we talk at that time or no?
For the hearing of the public, you can speak now. If there's questions from council on a topic, perhaps we will ask you questions, but you could speak now if you'd like to.
Good evening, my name is Chris Aiello, member of Moses Roses on 8 Mile and Kelly. Thanks for allowing me to speak tonight. We're on the agenda for a reason. The current ordinance allows our store to open up at 10 a.m. We're requesting to open up at 9 a.m. I stopped by the store today, and the reason for that is since it's opened, this is probably one of the first stores that I've ever seen in our fleet that we have a lot of people sitting outside the front door wanting to get in at 10 a.m. So I stopped by on the way here, and for the last 7 days, we've made 287 sales at 10 a.m. exactly. And so the manager reports to me, yes, there are people generally waiting here. She's getting there now at 9:30 a.m. to get everything ready and POS systems up and running and making sure everything's clean. And competition too. Everybody across the streets open at 9 a.m. But we seem to have a lot of local people right around that store that want to get in early Monday through Sunday. And so to accommodate them in our business, and I feel a little foolish being in a private business that I have to bother you to come up here and say, may I please have my store open at 9 a.m. But unfortunately, this is the regulated business we're in, and everything's good, and that's what we're requesting. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard? All right, seeing none, the hearing of the public is closed, and we'll move on to, we have no minutes to approve, scheduled hearings, unfinished business, so reports from administration, city manager's report. Mr. Mattis is not here. Kim, did you have a report, or?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, the minutes not being done, that's on me, working with our temporary person. It's a learning curve, so it's nothing. We're not trying to do it, and yes, we know it's a responsibility. We have a lot going on, but we're going to try and catch up as soon as possible. As it relates to the city manager, he is at the conference. He is not having a great time? No, he's having a good time. And then as it relates to Mr. Blum, the budget, the last pieces are being put together, so everything will be bound and presented to you prior to the April 7th meeting. Thank you.
Okay. And regarding the minutes, I think Brianna used to prepare those, right? And she's out, so.
She's coming back really soon.
All right, our finance director is not present tonight, so we will move on to our city attorney's report. Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Just one item to report on, Mayor. I recently received another opportunity on behalf of the city to participate in another opioids settlement. This one is referred to as the 6 remnant defendants. And we had a deadline of responding by May 4th. I took care of that today, and so we are signed up. I'm not sure what this will result in as far as the payments as they come in. Once I have that information, I'll circulate to the council and city administration. That's all I have, Mayor. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions? Thank you very much. We'll move into new business, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 26-1256, amendments to Article 8, animals. Chief, I see you're here with our animal control officer. Did you guys want to speak to this agenda item at all, or should we just go straight into?
I think only if you had questions.
Okay.
They're pretty self-explanatory, and these are items that have needed to be updated for quite some time. So,
all right. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Well, I do have some questions.
Or questions?
Yes. And I won't be long-winded, but there are some things I read, and one of them, one of my questions was looking at where it was talking about animals being left in vehicles. And I know that it is a thing, but some concerns that I had about it is just that, one, I know that sometimes people have electric vehicles, and I've been in a parking lot where someone started up an electric vehicle, I couldn't hear it. So I guess my question is, how do we ensure that it's not running and they don't have either the air conditioning on or the heat on in the vehicle? And I know typically with like a remote start or whatever, most vehicles will run about 15 minutes or so. But I guess where my concern comes in, especially when it talks about breaking a window or breaking a lock, my concern or question is that, let's say hypothetically, if I had a pet, I hit my start, the temperature in my vehicle, I can set it through an app or whatever, and I have it comfortable. I'm in the store for 15 minutes, literally shuts off. How do we ensure that that vehicle didn't just stop running? And how, like, what steps do we take, or what signs do we see to know that this pet is distressed to where we may have, where a window may have to be busted or a lock is busted out of a door? I don't know the signs of distress of an animal, so I truly don't know, but I am concerned that if a window has to be busted out, if the vehicle just shut off and the temperature is still good in the vehicle, I might be 2 minutes from coming out of the store. I'd hate to come out and see a busted window or a busted lock, and I was literally walking right out of the store. So I guess that's where my first question starts. Like, is there a way to identify, like, oh, definitely that animal is in distress?
I can start the answer and then I can turn it over to ACO Sanchez, but really it's not whether the vehicle is running or not, or what that situation is, but it's more about the distress that you mentioned that the animal or pet is in. Some of the signs of distress are heavy panting, like from a dog, where they're panting so much their tongue is elongated because they're trying to cool their body and they're unable to. I'll turn it over to ACO Sanchez because I know there's more specifics, but that's the one that the police officers look for, is how the animal is reacting. Are they lethargic? Are they not reacting at all? Those type of things.
Hi. So animals will generally start to pant. They will start to salivate. If the temperature rises too much, a temperature for a normal animal, for a dog, goes up to 102.5. If it goes higher than that, they start seizuring at about 106 bodily temperature. So we'll start to see stuff like that. We have had incidences, particular over the summer and also over the winter this past year. If they are in areas of like Aldi's, which was one from last year, we'll go actually in Aldi's in those areas to say, hey, can you guys make an announcement over the intercom, as long as the animal's not in distress. Now, the other way is that we also have a temperature reader where it actually gauges the inside of a vehicle. So it will read up to 120 degrees, if not sometimes higher. We have had a reading of 106 before. That's just for inside the vehicle. So that's kind of where we're struggling at. But it's not so that we primarily just go in over there and if we see a dog or a cat, we're just going to break the window.
No, I got you.
That's definitely not our goal. We just want to make sure if in the event there's something serious that has happened to an animal, we have the jurisdiction to act fast. The last thing I want to see is a seizuring dog, because unfortunately I have, and many times.
Yeah, and I truly don't know, because
Yeah, no,
I don't
no.
own a dog. I've never owned a dog. So.
Yeah, no, it's not a special.
And I guess the way I looked at it, just for clarity, is just that, you know, before I say, yeah, just bust a lock. Like, that's why I wanted to know. But I did read too that you mentioned that every reasonable attempt would be made to try to find out. And that's kind of what I wanted to know. And, you know, I didn't get the chance to ask that, you know, before tonight. But, you know, I just kind of wanted to hear where that was with it. But it sounds like you guys would try to make every reasonable attempt before resorting to that. And basically it would be deemed an emergency situation when you see those visible signs.
And you're right, it would be an emergency situation that we would resort to that, where we don't have the time to notify the owner, or we go into the store or whatever location it is, we're unable to find an owner to come out in a quick period of time. But again, it's not our goal to break somebody's window out. You know, we have a wrecker service that's right close that we can have them come and open the car door a much easier way, again, depending on the level of stress that the animal is in. But I can also state that if the animal were in the stress that we're talking about, where they're panting heavily or getting lethargic or getting into seizure activity, you know, it's a felony to leave your dog in a vehicle like that where they're affecting. So it would be a crime in and of itself, absent, you know, the breaking of the window or the opening of the door.
Okay.
Any other?
I have a question. So I see here that the regulation would only allow for 3 dogs only in a household. Is this like the standard?
Yes, that is the standard. Every city that I know of that I've looked into, it's 3 pets or less, or 3 dogs or 3 cats. Goldfish, other things don't count, but yes, that is a standard.
Okay, question?
Yes, this document we had at our desk here from Ashley, are we supposed to deal with that tonight along with the new amendments?
I don't think so. I think that was just informational. That was an email that was, I think, sent to you or requested and that you shared with us.
That's correct. It was previously sent to me, and Kim, before the meeting, asked if it would be a good idea just to have that on the council tables just for reference if necessary. And I said, yeah, make copies and circulate
Right.
it.
The other question is that there's probably 10 pages of the changes. Will this be put on the City Hall's, what do you call it, Facebook or whatever, so people can see exactly all the changes that are going to be made?
Your Honor, not only would it be on the city's page, but it would be on the police department page as well as the animal control page. We would put it on all pages, any updates that we are making to the ordinances. Plus, as you know, we report to Municode so that Municode can also update the ordinances on there as well.
Okay. Then, Mr. Mayor, I would move that we approve the first reading of ordinance number 26-1256 and to schedule a second reading and adoption for the regular city council meeting on Tuesday, April 3rd, 2026.
Support.
Okay, I did have another question before we go for it. Okay, so kind of jumping down to to the end where it's talking about violations. let me see, I want to make sure. I think this was in regards to, let me see. All right, I had it. So where it's talking about the violation would be a misdemeanor and a fine not to exceed $500. This is if someone doesn't have their, I'm just going to use the term fixed. If they don't have their cat fixed, if it's impounded, or is this fee part of you impounding the cat plus they also have to do these other things? I guess I'm trying to understand that because it says that a fine can be up to $500, and then it also mentions imprisonment for a term not to exceed 93 days in jail. So can somebody give me a little clarity on that part?
That's for cats for being intact male and an intact female in the residence. As long as one of the sexes are fixed, then there's no violation. It's just to prohibit it from breeding and having a hoarding situations. Unfortunately, last year we had a hoarding case of over 100 cats in one house here in Eastpointe. So that's what we're trying to fix.
Okay, and I guess.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, please.
Also with that is, the violation is always the last resort. It's not that, okay, we go to your house and you have an intact male and you have an intact female and you automatically get a misdemeanor of $500 or, 90 days in jail. It doesn't work that way. It's a warning. We try to get cooperation. If we cannot get cooperation through the warning for any one of a number of reasons, but mostly if they're just refusing to do it, then it gives us the ability to issue the violation. And it should be noted that all of our animal control violations under the city ordinances are misdemeanors. They're not civil infractions.
Okay, and I'm just being honest, I'm a little uncomfortable with that, especially when it talks about the jail time. And maybe it's just my lack of understanding with pets and cats and dogs, but that's a hard one for me. I'm just being honest about it.
So if I may, those charges actually get dismissed once the animals are fixed. So as long as they prove that at court, we actually dismiss those charges.
How often, I guess, with our ordinances as they are, do we often get misdemeanors? These kind of cases, or are they typically dismissed?
It's a little bit of both. Sometimes we do run into cases where the owners are adamant that they don't want to fix their animals because they want to breed. We have a situation like I did yesterday, 2 females and 1 male left outside all day. I also work with an organization called the KG Foundation, which primarily has a goal of fixing residential animals. They pay for it. So they actually linked up with the KG Foundation today because she called me, and she actually is already getting all 3 of them in line to get fixed. So there are situations like that where actually people like to remedy it. They just don't have the funds to do it. So we give chances to do it, and before anything is even issued, we generally give them 2 months to get the animal fixed unless they want to work with the KG Foundation.
Well, just to add to that quickly, Your Honor, with that, again, like I said, all of our animal ordinances are misdemeanors. I mean, they all come with that penalty, but I know what we generally do in court too is like ACO Sanchez spoke of, is as long as it's not somebody who's just animately disobeying the law and refuses to do anything to cooperate, not one of these other things where they don't have the funding or they don't have, they need more time, stuff like that. Generally, and I know Rich could speak to this too, but generally, anything that was written as a misdemeanor is usually either dismissed or it's reduced greatly. I don't know, since I've been here for over 2.5 years now, I don't think anybody has ever went to jail on one of these type of tickets at all. It's not the goal. The goal is to make sure that the pets are safe and that the family has what they need to move forward.
Mayor, if I could speak to that as well. Because these types of charges are misdemeanors, the person has the option, if they want, to retain their own attorney, or the court will provide a court-appointed attorney to represent them. And usually what we do is we will, beginning from the first court appearance, we will adjourn it. We will adjourn the pretrial to give them an opportunity to either relocate the animal outside of the city or make sure that the ordinance is complied with. And upon doing that, then the charge itself gets dismissed. That's in practice, that's how it typically works.
I think I just have like two other things, and then for this, where you say you may have to go to a home to impound a cat, I guess I'm just curious as what causes that, like an awareness that, hey, this house has excessive cats? Like, how do you know that or determine that?
So in the case involving over 100 cats, EMS actually had to go in for the homeowner.
Okay.
Then they ended up reaching out to building, who in turn actually ended up reaching out to us, because we don't know unless we get told. Somebody calls us with concerns, or somebody walks by and smells a really bad stench odor. Like, that's, we're not going to random people's houses knocking on doors.
I was just curious. And then I guess lastly, I'm curious, I was reading a section about like the farm animals and the shelter for rabbits and all of that. And I guess I'm curious as to why. Because I know that there are people that own rabbits. I've known like maybe two. Has this been a thing where you found somebody keeping a rabbit in a garage or something?
We just had a recent case, which is part of the reason why this was brought up, where there were bunnies that were being kept outside in sort of a hutch system here in the city, and they were completely neglected. The owner had said that they went out there at the beginning of the week and then never went back to give them any fresh water or food. And 3 of the 4 bunnies starved to death and froze to death outside trying to escape where they were at. So yeah, that really brought it to the forefront of our attention that these kind of things, just should not happen. But again, with any kind of animals like that in a city setting, I don't know that we're really not equipped to handle, those kind of situations where you have rabbits that you're keeping as outdoor pets. I mean, they're not meant to be outdoor pets like that. And so just going with what we have seen in the city, we thought it was necessary to bring forth, kind of like we do with dogs. We don't allow people to keep dogs outside overnight. We have a strict ordinance that says they have to come in between certain hours. We have the same thing. We wanted to pass along the same regulation for rabbits because they are, they're sensitive animals just like anything else, but they need to be taken care of properly. And other exotics, yeah, we did add the other exotics in because there are other exotics like chinchillas and several other pets that people have that that are considered exotics now. And then just to back up real quick on what ACO Sanchez has spoken about, when I did work for Madison Heights, we did have a similar case where it was 150 cats that we removed from that house. And basically the way that we were notified to that is that the odor, the ammonia odor, was so strong that there were residences 3 to 4 houses down that were actually complaining about the odor. And we went there the first time, the guy came out into the front yard, so we couldn't get, any closer to the house, and he was talking to us, but even he smelled highly of the ammonia. And when we ended up going in, we found 150 cats there. So that's another way that these get brought to our attention.
Okay. All right. I appreciate the clarity. I was going to just poke at you guys and say, hey, did one of our residents bring this to you? But I won't ask that. So that was it.
I just have one question. You mentioned what we have now is the temperature for animals being outside, little rabbits and little chicks. If you find, well, Easter's almost here, and I don't know if nothing's changed, and some of the churches, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't say churches, just anybody, so scratch that. But the temperature is below what you have the ordinance, and would the police take action and require them to take the animals inside?
Again, these ordinances are specifically meant for residences and people that are actually housing animals outside for lengths and periods of time. If it were a situation that there was an animal that was here for an hour or two, that's not the spirit of what the ordinance is meant to protect. This is meant to protect those that are trying to house them permanently at their residence.
That's all my questions, Mayor.
Any other questions? Please call the roll.
Oh, Mayor, I just want to point out, there is a typo on the agenda. Instead of, this would be set for first read instead of April 3rd, which is a Friday, it would be April 7th.
Friday?
The correct date would be April 7th, instead of April 3rd, which is on the agenda.
All right.
Are you fine with your motion being scheduled second reading for April 7th?
Sure.
Who
Yes.
supported that?
I did.
Okay. All good?
Yes.
All right. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick,
Yes.
Councilmember Scott,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld.
Yes. All right, item B, introduction, first reading of ordinance number 26-1257, traffic and vehicles. This one was pretty straightforward. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move that we introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 26-1257, amending chapter 44, traffic and vehicles, section 44-64, enforcement, and to schedule the second reading and adoption for the regular city council meeting on Tuesday, that's April 7th, 2026.
Okay, is there support?
Support.
All right, did anyone have any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Scott,
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick.
Yes.
All right, item C, discussion on request for earlier hours for adult use establishments. Would you like to open up, Councilman Curley?
Yes, thank you. I asked this, to have this put on the agenda. First, with our, Moses Rosa are not asking to increase the opening at the later hours, but in the morning. And I believe that their request from putting it at 9 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock is warranted. As he mentioned that they have cars there waiting for them to open up. And I see no reason it will not affect the city at all. And I might also add that they have the plants, the boxes out where people can plant flowers, and they also have a fenced-in area for people to bring their dogs there. So they've done exactly what they promised to do before they opened up. So I would make the motion, Mr. Mayor, that we approve the request to have the Moses Rosa open up at 9 a.m. instead of 10 a.m.
Support.
All right. And I didn't really have really strong opinions about whether the store opened at 9 or 10. Did anyone else have any questions or comments?
I only have a comment. I know I had the opportunity to go by Moses Roses on Wednesday, March 11th, and I had the opportunity to speak to Chris. My only concern is when I walked in, I wasn't ID'd. There was no security. I wasn't checked. I was able to just go straight in. And I know we're supposed to have some type of regulations going on. So if we don't have those things in place right now, I don't see why we should allow them the opportunity to open up earlier if I wasn't ID'd or anything. So I don't really think it would be safe until maybe we can verify that those checks and balances are in place.
I guess I might ask administration, and I don't remember with our current ordinances, is that required when you walk in? I know it was for, I think, medical.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, with the recreational or adult use, there's much more state control and less at the municipal level. And of course, if this would require a city ordinance change if you wanted to change the hours. But most of the regulations are through the state. And so, I mean, we can check into that in terms of what they require.
I mean, I think regardless of what our hours are, that's just something in regular course would have to be enforced with the state regulations, I believe.
I would assume, but Rich, we can check into that, right?
And I'm sorry, what was the wording of your motion, just to allow them to be open at?
Approve the request to open up at 9 o'clock.
And I think, because Ms. Holman just stated something that I guess it didn't click for me. I think this would require an ordinance change with the first and second reading.
It would, Mayor, and I was going to say something, because there isn't a recommended motion attached, so I can make that ordinance change ready for first reading at the April 7th meeting.
So that's not something we could just motion on this evening?
Well, the only change is, I mean, if the council considered this a first reading, and then I can make the change, and that would be the second reading, because the text is only changing from the hour. That's the only change.
Do you need a draft for the first reading, though?
I don't think that I mean, there has to be a first and second reading. I don't think that the ordinance is specific that there actually has to be a written motion in front of the council.
So I guess my position is, I'm, like I said, I don't think there's a huge difference between 9 and 10. I think our administration should look into the issue to make sure all the regulations are being followed, regardless of what the council does. I'm okay with the change, but I think what we would probably should do instead is direct to have a draft of an ordinance of first and second reading. I don't think we've ever had a first reading of an ordinance without a draft in front of us and an ordinance number.
Mayor, I don't recall that ever being the case. There could be one that was a very minor change over the years, but generally speaking, it's a first and second reading with an actual ordinance for the first reading and then approved at the second.
Wouldn't this also be a very minor change with it being just from the number 10 to 9?
It is a minor change.
Pretty minor, yeah.
Okay.
I guess let me just, so for clarity, you think it's okay to move forward without?
I think, worst case scenario, I will look into it. Worst case scenario, at the April 7th meeting, it becomes a first reading instead of a second. I just don't know if our ordinance process requires that kind of specificity. But either it's going to be a first reading or a second reading at the next meeting on April 7th.
Should we amend our motion then to read that it would be the first reading of the amendment?
It is your motion, what do you?
Well, I'm waiting for his answer. I mean, can we just make this the first reading? Because you're.
Yes.
He says
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
All right,
And if
I
we
would
have a
add that to
problem,
my motion, the first reading to approve the request to open up at 9 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock.
With second reading to be scheduled for April 7th?
And the second reading would be scheduled for the next regular meeting.
April 7th.
I'll still support that.
Okay, and I'm just gonna go on record. I'm not in favor of it, but I've never been in favor of marijuana coming into Eastpointe. Just so you know, it's nothing personal, but I've always advocated for prevention. I've worked with a group that focused on prevention for youth and families, and that's kind of where I stand. That is exactly where I stand with it. So that's why my vote won't be in support of it, just so you'll know that directly from me.
Any other comments? All right, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes?
Councilmember Shadlick,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
No.
Mayor Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Councilmember Scott.
No.
All right, moving on to discussion on committee to meet with school board.
Mr. Mayor, my mind is thinking that 2 or 3 months ago at least, we sat here and got volunteers to be the liaison for a senior citizens committee, was myself. Then did we not see who wanted to be liaisons to the school board committee? Did we not do that already?
So I don't think we've discussed it recently.
No, it wasn't recently. It was 2 or 3 months ago. And and 2 people volunteered.
A while back, I was on this like subcommittee with some of the school board members. There was a changeover in the membership there, and we weren't able to meet for a time. I'd still be willing to do that if council's agreeable. But I think the idea is we want to get together with the school board and also schedule a joint meeting at some point when we can figure out dates and sort of just start building that relationship again.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, yes, that is the conversations that the city manager and the school board superintendent have had. And my understanding is that the school board did have a vote to appoint 2 members, I think, to meet with the school superintendent, and then we would need 2 members from city council to meet with our city manager on a relatively regular basis.
Do you know what 2 members they appointed?
I don't, I'm sorry.
So you'd like to be one of the 2, if we have 2?
If council is okay with it, yeah.
That'd be
I'll be
fine
one
with,
of the
that's
2.
fine with me.
Well, it makes sense, I think, for you too.
You what?
I'd like to be one of the 2.
Okay. So moved.
I'll support. Was anyone else interested, I guess?
No, that's fine. Call the roll.
So I have Councilmember Scott, who was mayor? You were?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I guess, please call the roll.
So wait, our motion is to support this committee or to appoint members?
I think it was to appoint myself and Councilwoman Scott,
Okay.
which I guess would imply that we'll support the committee.
Right.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Oh,
Or,
right. Who made the motion? Oh, Mr. Curley, Member Curley.
Yes.
And then support was by
yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Scott?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
All right, moving on to payroll and bills. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Oh, sure. I move that we pay the bills in the amount of $2,596,793.50.
Support.
All right. Well, I guess we don't have our finance director here, but were there any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley?
Yes.
All right, the second hearing of the public is now open. Would anyone wish to be heard?
Again, my name is Chris Aiello, for the record, 8 Mile and Kelly. Thank you for your time tonight, and then I forgot to talk about one thing, and thank you, Councilmember Curley, for bringing it up. So we have 10 planters that were built in front of the store, and spring is here, and so we want to work in collaboration with the city and pass on the word that we're looking for individuals that want to help either plant tomatoes, or we'll supply everything, seeds, clones, the whole thing. Who want to help participate in maintaining these flower beds and vegetable beds. And so they'll be they'll be open to the public, and of Italian descent. The ones nearest the building will all be vegetables, and hopefully I've learned a few things, so we'll have lots of tomatoes and lettuce and some Italian ancestry clones inside of those beds, open to the entire city. And so just help get the word out. If there's somebody that has a green thumb in the community that wants to be a point of contact for the community to help organize this, we'll give it our best effort by putting all the dirt in there and the clones. But we've heard from a lot of citizens that they want flowers in some of the beds, but it's a community effort. I don't know if we have the reach to maintain all of this. We'll supply the hose lines, we'll have the tools, we'll get all the clones and everything, but I guess just pass on the word if somebody has something special they want to be planted. We're all ears and arms. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Mary Hall Rayford, Eastpointe. I guess I probably should have said something in the first hearing of the public, but I was hoping that things would turn out a little differently at any rate. Are we going to change ordinances every time somebody wants to make a difference in their sales? And I'm not just saying that as a rhetorical question. I really want people to think about that. We have kids going to school right now, and most of the teachers are probably thinking they're the ones who are smoking. That's not healthy for the child to sit in somebody's car. It's not healthy for the home, for people to have smoke around their children. I don't have any small children in the school, and nobody's allowed to smoke anything in my house because I don't want to smell like it. It's just that simple. But to do that because there are concerns about I'm losing out on money for an hour. Well, change your business plan and do something better. I'm feeling quite adamant about that, and I'm extremely disappointed that you decide to move forward with this. Anytime, and we've gone through this before, we wanted to, people wanted to stay open later. Okay, you stayed open later. Now you want to open up early. What's it going to be next? When the sun rises? This is ridiculous. No consideration for the people who live here and their thoughts on the matter, because it wasn't out there. And now we have even more of a hindrance for people like me who already have difficulty breathing. And I'm not the only one. I really wish the bottom line is not the only reason we're going to change ordinances so somebody can make more money. That's ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone else?
Jennifer Nicholas, Eastpointe resident. Yeah, that is a nice visual, thinking that there's people lined up in the parking lot waiting for a weed store to open at 10 o'clock. Does nobody in the city work anymore? And while it's really nice that they've are contributing planters and seeds, I'm wondering how they're affording that when they still owe over $50,000 in back property taxes to Macomb County. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is the ordinances on garages. And I hate being redundant, but it bothers me because we had two different messages going back and forth, and I still don't know what the correct answer is. At the November 6th Planning Commission meeting, Commissioner Naylor expressed concerns with the 3-foot garage setbacks. She gave an example of her neighbor's garage that burned down. She said it would be a tragedy for the neighbor to try now to reduce what they had access to. Mr. Myers assured the Planning Commission that tragedy doesn't ever require us to revert back to a new model. If it is an existing garage and it is damaged and needs to be rebuilt, it should not have to come off the same platform of which it was established. It should be able to be restored. Prior to making a motion, the Planning Commission, Commissioner Naylor asked about including language that would protect existing garages to allow homeowners to use the original setbacks if a garage needed to be rebuilt. Mr. Myers said that Section 11.07 Part D, Part 1 already covers this in an event of a fire or natural disaster, so no additional language would need to be added. February 17th City Council meeting, our city manager and building official proposed the setbacks remain at 3 feet. Mr. Mattis specifically stated that if a homeowner lost the entire building, it would have to be rebuilt to the current specs. I brought this up at the Planning Commission meeting March 5th. Commissioner Naylor's response was, we did talk about those garages, we did give an example, but I guess City Council can vote differently. If my stuff burned down and now I've got to cut up concrete and put a smaller garage on, that seems very cumbersome for someone who has already had a disaster. Commissioner Moody stated, my opinion is the exact same thing with references to those garages. I would hate to think if something happened to my garage and then I would have to lose some space. So what is it? Because there was a garage fire on Tuscany on Friday, and I'm thinking that neighborhood has setbacks smaller than 3 feet, as the majority of the city does. So does that person have to move their garage over when they rebuild? Do they have to build a smaller garage? You know, it's just, I feel that Planning Commission made a recommendation based on the assurance that Mr. Myers gave them that existing garages would be protected in the event of a disaster. But then we did a flip-flop at the city council meeting, so some clarification would be appreciated.
Anyone else wish to be heard?
So I would love to see what the ordinance language is so I can be better prepared for the next council meeting. Council Member Baker, the way that you avoid any of the issues with the dogs left in the car, it's real simple. Leave your dog at home. It's ridiculous. You know, summer after summer, dogs left in hot cars. And even in the winter, it's just stupid. Nobody, and I mean nobody, goes into a store, I'm just gonna be in there for 5 minutes. No, that doesn't happen, and engines cut out, even with the air conditioning on. And then you wind up, you know, like ACO Sanchez says, you wind up with these distress situations. I'm glad to hear there's discussion about the rabbits in the ordinance. You know, it tells me, Mr. Albright, my 2 drafts were not all in vain, eh? Rabbits, no, they do not belong housed outside, period. The federal law for the Animal Welfare Act is rabbits cannot be in temperatures below 40 degrees. ACO Sanchez, that's like really super close to the dogs in the winter where it's 42, 43 degrees. So, you know, that pretty much coincides. But again, I can't stress the importance of rabbits do not belong housed outside, period. They're social animals. And then how sad is that? Those poor bunnies froze to death. I spoke at a recent meeting about Hedel finding a black rabbit that froze to death outside. So clearly there is a problem here in Eastpointe with people being outrageously irresponsible with their rabbits. They should not have rabbits to begin with. You either need to be hyper vigilant, on the ball, you know, just super responsible with rabbits. As any animal, if you take an animal, you take them for life. You don't take them at all. And you sure as hell don't leave them outside to freeze to death. No water. How sad, how tragic. Those
You have
poor
30
rabbits
seconds.
froze to death, and they were neglected. Mr. Albright, I hope you have a conversation with Prosecutor Lucido about that, because I'm looking at the intent. I would definitely argue felony animal cruelty, because that was not a mistake to just ignore them and not give them water. That's not a mistake at all. So if anyone has any questions about rabbits, please contact me. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the rabbits. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Larry Edwards, Eastpointe resident. I'd like to speak in regard to Family Town. If anything need to be changed, that need to be changed. this hasn't been a family town in who knows how long. I don't have to worry about my children or anything inhaling smoke of any sort around the house. If it is, it's outside in other areas and what have you. I know I run across it and going in and outside of grocery stores or wherever and what have you. Just, I used to be a smoker, and I can smell smoke from almost halfway down to 8 Mile from here. And then to think about children got to be around such of that sort and what have you. It's just absurd. And then to say a family town. When the kids, there's no disconnection. You're not doing it in the private, going in the closet and what have you. The kids know you smoke weed. They know you do drink, and they know you do all this kind of stuff and what have you. So you ain't hiding nothing, but you ain't trying to hide nothing. But then you have people that come along and make laws and decisions and whatever. I'd like to commend Councilman Baker and Councilman Scott, Councilwoman Scott and what have you for having the nerve to speak up and to go against that, especially if you're calling yourself of any type of person of faith and what have you. The scripture's got the guideline, it's the map, it tells you what to do, what's acceptable, what ain't acceptable, and a lot of people are perpetrating, calling themselves that and what have you, but we know a lot of people are phony, fake, and whatever else and what have you, and those are just words meaning nothing and what have you, but don't come around me with it, faking. So I'd just like to say, I hope we can do better at some time and some point and what have you to get our heads together. I came in that era where they used to call hippies and used to be around all that and everything. You know, it's funny, a lot of them don't smoke anymore because there is harm, there is hazardous. And the law and the government outlawed it during that time because of the hazards of the health reason. But when it came to money, just like someone said earlier and everything, when it came to the money, and here in America, we'll do whatever. We'll bend over backwards, we'll give whatever. We'll do whatever for money.
I just think with what happened last week, me being able to just go inside Moses Roses, I know it's been a hot topic. I decided that it was necessary for me to visit the business and actually get my own opinion of what it was like to go in. I don't support marijuana. As a teacher, I think it's very important to make sure that we talk about smoke safety, but just knowing that there are regulations and I didn't feel like they were following them. Imagine if there was a child that walked in underage, 16. They would have had the ability to actually access that. And it was actually 5:30 p.m.-ish. It wasn't even 9. So the fact that they want to open at 9 o'clock and we just allowed it, I think, personally, I don't agree with it. I know I had the opportunity to actually speak to another business owner, and they kind of let me know that they moved to Eastpointe from a neighboring city because some of our guidelines, ordinances were much more lenient. I don't know how I was supposed to receive that, if that was a good thing or a bad thing. So that's just something I would just like to put out there, that when we're passing these motions and ordinances, that we kind of consider, what are we doing? What is the setup? What is the vision? We're considering the master plan. What are we doing for the future of the city of Eastpointe? And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bashadlik.
I just wanted to mention something that Resident Mary Hall Rayford had mentioned about Women's History Month and recognizing those in our own community. I just wanted to mention that the Arts and Cultural Diversity Commission does have a page, and we did mention a few people, including Planning Commissioner Kimberly Naylor. We had an article in there about her and being awarded as the one of the honorees, the 2026 honorees of the Enterprising Women Foundation. So I'd like to give a shout out to her and congratulate her on that accomplishment, and to also commend her for her service on the Planning Commission. I know she's an integral part of that commission, and we do appreciate her, as well as you, Mary, on that commission. But there are some other women on the page too, as well. As if you're on Facebook and you'd like to peruse that, I would suggest that you do. And that's all I have today.
Thank you. Councilman Curley.
Oh, thank you. As we all know, we're now celebrating 250 years for America. Way back when, 1776, Benjamin Franklin was the oldest person to sign the Declaration. He was 70 years old. And if you've ever seen the movie 1776, it gives a lot of details about the trouble they had to finally pick somebody to write the Constitution. And let me read something to you. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of the liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. 250 years, tens of thousands of people, men, women, and children have died so we can sit up here and so you can sit out there. We are a great country. Things are happening that we don't like. An example is that in the last few days, people are being called stupid over the airwaves. You're not stupid, we're not stupid, you're not dumb, and we're not dumb. But when somebody takes advantage of the airwaves and calls somebody stupid, where millions of people can hear that, that's not right. That's not right. Can you imagine tonight's meeting? We didn't all agree, did we? And that's okay. That's okay. But can you imagine how many countries that if you got up and went to the microphone and said what you said tonight, you'd probably taken a long train trip someplace that's really cold. So God bless all of you. That's okay to disagree. And we still love one another. And just remember the preamble that I just read, that we have freedoms that no other country has. And we thank God for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Baker.
Thank you. So just addressing a couple things. In regards to the garage setbacks, because I did watch some of that meeting, heard some of the comments. We didn't all vote in favor of that. And I want to make that perfectly clear. It's because I understand that it's always stated that the council passed something, and I understand it's by a majority vote. But there are some things where I feel like people lump everybody together saying, you all did this. No, we all didn't. It passed by a certain vote, and it wasn't a unanimous vote. And I think sometimes it's important to distinguish that. At the end of the day, the council has to vote the way they see is what they think is best, but we don't always agree on what that is. I wasn't in favor of changing that setback, but my vote didn't win on that. In regards to the animals in the car, my job is not to tell people to leave their animals at home. Anybody, Ms. Morita, you can have that opinion. I'm not knocking you for your opinion. I wouldn't, but that's not my opinion. As far as people not running into the store and saying, I'm gonna be in and out in 5 minutes, I guess I'm one of the only guys that I know that can do that then, because I've done it plenty of times. People take their animals, their pets in their cars with them for various reasons. They have different trips, destinations that they have to go to, sometimes to the vet, sometimes to visit loved ones. If they need to stop at a store, they have every right. My questions was just so that I could have a better understanding of what was being proposed. And I thought I made that perfectly clear that that's why I was asking. I know about cars shutting off because I literally said it tonight, 15 minutes. My car does it. I can set it from my phone to cut on right now. 15 minutes from now, it will shut off. It will run at it will heat up or cool down to whatever temperature I set it to do. So I'm very aware of that. But my questions are so that I can have a better understanding of what's being presented to me. And I mentioned before, I didn't have an opportunity to talk with our animal control officer or our chief about what was added on the agenda, but I knew that that was something that I could ask tonight. But my obligation is to try to be as informed as I can be, and that is the purpose of my questions. It's not to say that people should have free reign to do whatever they want to do in regards to their animals. Just because I don't own a cat or a dog doesn't mean that I don't care about them. I don't want to see anything happen to anybody's pet. I don't want to see an animal suffer. I don't advocate for that. But I have a right to ask a question, and there are some things that I don't understand. I mean, who better to ask? We have our animal control officer here, and she answered my questions. Anytime that I've had a question about an animal, she's been able to answer it. I trust the people that are hired into those professions to do what they do and to give the answer and the education that I'm seeking. And I felt like I got that tonight. In regard to the marijuana, like I stated tonight, I've never advocated for it. I understand that people have various reasons as to why they do. But I couldn't be in favor of this, and I agree with some of the sentiments that were expressed tonight. I'll just leave it at that. I'm all about advocating for prevention. If adults want to smoke till smoke comes out of their ears or mouth or nose or wherever, literally you had a right to do that. But I do care about children. I used to volunteer with Gleaners when I had an opportunity to, and I can't tell you how many times we've opened up a car door to place food products inside the car, and the first thing that comes out is a big wave of marijuana or the smell of it. So I don't know the gentleman that was here personally, but that was my position and why I couldn't support it. But it passed. He got what he wanted, so that is what it is. With that, that's it.
Hey, thank you. I just want to say, I think it was, I appreciate everyone being very professional during meetings. I know we don't agree, but that's okay. Thank you for coming out, Sanchez, to talk on the agenda. You picked a good night to put it on the agenda. And happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Motion to adjourn?
Support.
Sure. My motion, supported by Scott. I was asking for one, but that counts. Please call the roll.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Scott?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley?
Yes.
All right, meeting adjourned at 8:13.